old school chalkboard. But first, I want to tell you a short story. In the summer of 1996, I was working at a rock station here in town, 93.3 KDKB, on the rock and roll ride home. Essentially, I got to listen to rock and roll, interview rock stars, and go to rock concerts and get paid for that and do a couple of sportscasts. But I always felt like, and I think I knew, that I had something more to give. And that summer, my life changed forever because my general manager walked into the production room where I was editing something with a grease pencil, a razor blade, and some tape. His name is Chuck RT. He was the general manager. He has long since passed. But he walked in and said, "You're not going to believe this. We just cut a deal. You know that hockey team that's coming from Winnipeg? They want to do something totally different. They want to change the whole paradigm of broadcasting. There's a new television network coming to town. That was Fox Sports Arizona. And he wanted to put his hockey games on a rock station on FM." And I said to Chuck, "That's great for us." And then he said, "Hey, and we have that AM signal, 1060 KUKQ. We can do the pre- and post-game shows." And I said, "That's great for us." And then he said, "And we want you to be a part of it." And I looked at him and I said, "Are you asking me or are you telling me?" And then I paused and said, "But if we're going to do this, we got to do this right. First of all, I don't want to be stuck in a studio tossing it to the guys at the rink for the rest of my life or taking phone calls late into the night. I'd already done that, but I said we have to be committed. These will be hockey pioneers. We got to tell their story. We got to be embedded with them. We got to go out on the road, be on the charter flight, the team bus, and the team hotels." And they bit. On December 14th, I stood in front of Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto in 1996. The Coyotes won 5-2. Keith Tkachuk scored 2 goals. Jeremy Roenick had 1. They had 58 penalty minutes, and I've been on the road covering this team ever since. And I will say this, it's not about goals and moments and memories that are about what I saw. What I have learned along the way in the last 3 decades, that hockey is about people. And they are amongst the best people in the world. Personally speaking, in 2000, when my father died, I couldn't afford a trip to New York the next morning after he passed on a Sunday, but it was my broadcast partner, Tom Curvers, who showed up at the airport and handed me 50,000 flight miles and said, "Go home." 15 years later, when my mom died in Rochester, New York, I went back to collect all of her belongings. And I got a text. I was all alone in that house. You can imagine that feeling. You may have lived it. Tempo Newman texted me. He was a member of the Buffalo Sabres, and he said, "I just got on the New York State Thruway. We're having breakfast in Rochester. I don't want you to be alone." That's what hockey is all about. Hockey gave me a personal and professional purpose. And I don't know how to thank it, so I'm going to thank it right now. I wrote once that a good story lasts forever. However, sometimes the ending just isn't what you want it to be. It is up to us to figure out the joy of the story no matter how it ended. That's why we want to read and feel more of them. That's why people continue to write. What I said earlier, I'll always remember, if you're good to the game will be good to you. So in closing, I'm going to go back to a story that I love to tell. It's about the Hall of Fame coach, the late, great Fred Sherrill, back in the mid-'70s, the head coach of the Broad Street Bullies, the Philadelphia Flyers. He walked into the room before the Stanley Cup clinching game, and he walked up on a chalkboard, and he wrote this. It's my favorite quote in all of hockey. "Win today, and we walk together forever." Think about that. Win today, and we walk together forever. Well, the Coyotes, as you know, they never won a cup, but we went through a whole heck of a lot together. So I'd like to amend that chalkboard with a virtual chalkboard circa 2024, as I got a couple of guys to moonlight, Tom Elsner and Josh Kellman, who put this together. And this is my message to you, Coyote fans, who have been there since day one. And it's simply this. I hope you'll enjoy this particular last ode to the Coyotes from my own chalkboard, because we walk together forever as Coyote fans. And that's the story, really. That's my chalkboard. I had the best seat in the house. We all did here in this crew. We enjoyed the ride, and we hoped you did too. And I'm going to quote a song from a band, The Association. The song is "Everything That Touches You," and they sang "Our love is real, and we show the field." And we have done that for 28 years. So Godspeed to all that were involved and who invested in Arizona Coyotes hockey.